Okay guys, so each and every week, as I said, I do of course the weekly news and a summary of the current affairs. It's not obviously everything that's happened, but it's what I feel is relevant. And yeah, here we go. So the first story for this week is former President Kgalema Motlanthe criticizes South Africa's treatment of undocumented immigrants. Okay, so the former president has came out and he has basically bemoaned South Africa's treatment of undocumented immigrants. And he's basically, he was speaking at George Bezos's remembrance. And ultimately, he was very, very upset about how I think undocumented South Africans are treated. And this is what the statement that he made. South Africa's undocumented migrants, economic refugees, and asylum seekers look for hope and opportunity in South Africa. Yet they have been largely excluded from our society. There is a rush to send the oppressed back to their troubled homes, rendering them stateless, beings floating between borders. This is a statement that he has released at George Bezos' farewell, right? And honestly speaking, all I can say to that is I'm so glad you are no longer the acting president, because you are one of the reasons why we have all of these foreigners in our country. Honestly, for you to be making such a statement, if you are in our country undocumented, the question is, how did you get here? What type of country actually accepts people that come into a country undocumented and expected to be treated? There's no war in Zimbabwe. There's no war in Nigeria. Why are these people seeking asylum here in South Africa? Why must we treat them in a certain way, like with Kindle hands now, because they are coming from countries that we also poor, we have our own problems, man. And for you to make such a statement as a president, as a former president or acting president, just shows Uti, that's exactly why you're never ever gonna be president. And moving on, I'm gonna play this video where Gauteng MEC of Transport was actually raiding vehicles, and you'll see in this video these two young guys basically get stopped. They were in the back of a bakkie or whatever, and they're from Mozambique, 16-year-olds from Mozambique, undocumented, on their way to go work in some farm in Pretoria. And you listen to this MEC, and all she's basically asking them is that, why aren't you in school? Why and where are your papers? Where do you come from? How did you get here? Who did you pay to get into the country undocumented? She's literally there with law enforcement, with cops doing this raid, and the only question she's asking these guys are, why are you guys not in school? I mean, madam, that's not our worry. And now she's calling on the Department of Social Development to come investigate if it's perhaps child labor because they're 16 and they were taken to this farm. No, honey, this is our money.
So I heard you saying these boys in the back seat of this van are looking very uncomfortable. Please, can I ask questions about this? And you found that there are minors in there. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that case, where that man who was arrested has been taken to and where those minors have been taken to?
The driver has been arrested by the Home Affairs people. Those two minors, they've handed them over to Department of Social Development because they're 15 years old. So Department of Social Development is the one that will help either trace their parents or continue talking to them, interviewing them, because you can't keep minors in prison cells. That's why you notice even when they were transported in their own car. The difference is that it was the police officer that was driving it. So you don't then mix them with elderly people. But what is disturbing is to discover young people who are supposed to be at school, sitting and saying, we are working as Itobeni. Even the way they are dressed, you can see they're innocent. All the way from Mozambique, I think, either through human trafficking or they came under the fence because they're even undocumented. How did they come into South Africa when they're not even documented, not even a birth certificate or anything? So these are the challenges that we have here in Gauteng, of many people looking for economic opportunities and doing everything. I mean, to use young children is tantamount to child labor. And the laws of the country do not allow that. But because that guy is also from Mozambique, he's taking chances out of our own laws that are within here in South Africa. But unfortunately, he got arrested. So the Home Affairs will deal with him, while Social Development will take those young people to the shelter, help them, process them, and be able either to send them back home, because I doubt they've got any relative here in Gauteng. Then they will take them back home, arrange that they be assisted to go home.
So you're wasting state resources. There's no need to investigate anything. Send these kids back home. Send them back home. Don't come into our country undocumented. We don't go into people's countries undocumented, especially Mozambique. I've been to Mozambique. They are very strict at the border. You don't just walk in there. But here in our country, We have an MEC just asking, I'll share my boys, why aren't you in school? No, sorry, bye.